What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to Big Bets on Campus podcast. This is the week 0 college football betting recap and week 1 look ahead. I'm Stucky. With me, as always, is Colin Wilson. Some years we do this week 0 review, and some years we don't. There's just, sometimes there's only a couple games. And we started off with such an amazing game, Nebraska, Iowa, and I'm getting messages from our producer. The voicemails are flowing in. So I said, you know what? Let's do we're going to do one. As long as we got some good voicemails. And then you guys obviously came through, as always. If there are any new listeners out there, thank you. Welcome this season. And if you're not familiar, what we do on these episodes, which come out each Monday, is we look back at the weekend that was, and then we'll look ahead to the weekday games. And then later in the week, we have our Group of 5 episode. This week, that's going to actually come out on Wednesday. And then our week 1 bonanza, where we preview the entire weekend, Thursday through Monday, Sunday night, Monday night. That's going to come out on Thursday. Other weeks, we come out on Friday, but we're doing it a day early this year. So, yeah, we got it was a fun week 0, Colin. We recovered from Nebraska debacle. I mean, we want let's just get right. This is how we'll talk about the Nebraska game. Let's let you guys vent, and then we'll talk about the same old corn, the same old stale corn. It's nothing like that song. It's corn that's going viral. It is the same, nothing new, nothing. It is exciting, it's stale. Go ahead.
Everybody's keeping bets on when I'm going to drop the word media days on our podcast. So when I was at media days and I said, Scott Frost is now going to focus more on special teams and defense now that he's not in control of the offense. Can somebody get him out of the room on the decisions to be going for an onside kick up 11? All right. So this is what happens. Scott Frost has all this spare time on his hand and we've decided to onside kick up 11. Like, can we just put him back in the offensive room and let Whips be in control? Where was that decision? Okay, I've already filled my voicemail. Let's get to the voicemails because it's got to be more of that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they saw something on film. I get it, but it just wasn't. It's just hilarious. That's how they finally have a special teams coordinator. They do have a punter. Their punting was great. But yeah, they're up 11. Onside kick flips the entire game. Anyway, let's hear from y'all.
Nebraska futures. Take Nebraska. New offense coordinator. New quarterback. Same old Nebraska. Thanks, Colin.
What's up, guys? Finally realized why it's called week 0, because that's how much money I make every single week. 0. Just lost to Pat Fitzgerald. Pretty embarrassing. I mean, but hey, it's Nebraska football. I mean, we should expect this, right? Why do I keep spending money on this team?
So, Colin, I just want to ask, how the does an article written by the Irish Times fall into your handicap and make that actionable information? You got to chill on the WWE narratives, please.
Colin, man, the Irish Times. You thought that was an angle. The Irish Times, 18 to 22-year-olds from Nebraska. I'd be interested in what the Irish Times have to say about the football team. This doesn't mean a full season looking at the daily Pravda for Ole Miss updates, but holy you're a moron, man.
Clarion
I don't know
Ledger.
what to say. I'd leave Scott Frost's ass in freaking Dublin. I'm going to start drinking. It's going to be a long day.
So all preseason, and here on the first week 0 preview pod, all I got to hear is how much you guys love Nebraska. Nebraska, regression. They're going to be better. Oh, they can't do that again. What's the one constant? It's Scott Frost. The Frosty man, right there in Lincoln. I hope they don't fire him. I want him to stay. Let them live in purgatory forever. It's beautiful. How you didn't add Scott Frost into all that Nebraska money? No, the Big Ten West Championship, Colin. Oh, yeah, let's go. Over 7.5 wins. Best bet. Jeez, you guys gotta be kidding me. It's Scott Frost Huskers. and they suck. I mean, honestly, I'm just sitting here. I'm at a wedding. Last weekend, I would attend a wedding until the middle of January, by the way. And I just can't get over Colin sitting here telling us to get on Nebraska. And Nebraska, -12. They're going to make a statement. It's a statement. They're going over the pond to make a statement.
Roasting.
The only statement they're making is that Scott Frost sucks. He's a terrible head coach. It's just every year. The Nebraska hype is unbelievable. What are people seeing? They're terrible. They suck. All right.
That fucking Nebraska again. Y'all got my hopes up way too fucking much. Nebraska's gonna win the fucking East. Living in Nebraska is a fucking travesty, guys. I need a better team. Taking a poll for better teams. I'm done with the season. Already waving the white flag. I'm done. Giving up. We can hope the rest of my bets hit. All right. Appreciate the pod, guys. You guys are awesome.
Fuck Scott Frost. That's it. Fuck Scott Frost. Hey, boys. Big first day for the Cornhuskers. But more importantly, just want to give a shout out to our guy, Insider, Brett McMurphy, just flexing on everyone for having him be the only one in their top 25 and getting cold takes exposed on the first game of the season. Well done, Brett. Stay hot.
All right. That was a public roasting. By the way, of course, one of my first bets that I lost, the trolls will come out every year. You're wasting your time. I've had people trolling picks like you lost this. Yeah, no shit. I've had people do it for almost 20 years. Call into the voicemail. Listen to much more therapeutic. Well, and then it'll also give us entertainment and everyone will get to hear it. But yeah, it's like tweeting, you lose. Yeah, I know I lose bets every day. But call into the voicemail. Look how fun that was. And you'll feel better after. But a public roasting, Colin, we got Brett in there. Even my win total. Look, I didn't bet Nebraska. I do not bet Scott. It's exhibit 300. Why you don't bet Scott Frost is a double-digit favorite. I think he's like 7-15 against the spread. I will bet him I will bet Nebraska as a dog. I'll tell you that this year. So we're not done with Nebraska. They were my most profitable team last year. So I don't. And you guys were covering with Nebraska too all the time as dogs. I don't know why you're mad at them this much because I still think they can still go over 7.5. It's the most exciting win total in all of college football. You have 12 weeks of pure circus and chaos. Now, I don't know about winning the division or laying 12. That's something you got to answer to, Colin. Irish Times thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Irish Times obviously motivated Scott Frost so much that when he had an 11-point lead for the second time in the game, he decided to onside the kick because he really wanted to rub it in, and that all completely backfired. Some terrible, terrible coaching decision. And I think there's something else. I mean, there's a couple of things at play here. Like the handicap obviously missed the fact that I didn't think Northwestern was going to have 528 total yards. I didn't
Helinski looked really good.
Helinski's over 300 yards, 27-38, average yard per pass, 8.3. Casey Thompson was, as advertised, explosive, 355 yards. He had, I think, 7 receivers with at least a 15-yard catch. I mean, the offense is not broken. For Frost after the game to say, well, we have to be more creative with our offense in this league. What are you talking about? Like, I mean, this is the offense that was ran with Pitt last year that went to their conference championship. But if you look at the numbers, give Northwestern's defense some credit. If you look at passing down success rate, Nebraska, 60% in the first quarter, 83% in the second quarter, then 33 and 14% in the second half in those two quarters. Northwestern actually shut down the success rate and the explosiveness of the Nebraska offense in the second half. So they're the ones that made the adjustments. And Scott Frost is the one that made the mistakes with going for the onside kick. And then just some other really poor decisions. But, the over gets there overall for the game. I'm 1 for 1. The over gets there for everybody pretty quick. But everybody wants to focus on Nebraska blowing this game. And, I saw a lot of bad handicaps in this game. Nebraska has a new center. That wasn't a problem. Nebraska has a new offensive coordinator. That wasn't the problem. The problem was Scott Frost calling that onsides, and the defense was way worse than advertised. And give credit to Evan Hull, who tore Nebraska apart between those two All-American tackles. It was pretty impressive by Northwestern from an offensive standpoint. So,
Nebraska really risked JoJo Doman, who's their star nickel, did so much for them. He's on the Colts now. They really missed him out in the flats and just making tackles. And I mean, they basic angles. But you got to remember, Nebraska might turn into a cash cow. Nebraska last year, they lost to Illinois to start the year, embarrassing. And then anytime they were a dog, absolutely loot. So not going to be a dog for a while. Their schedule now is an absolute clown show until Oklahoma. So feel free
North
to
Dakota.
face.
They'll still be a big favorite over North Dakota coming up here. Can't get it.
Yeah, they'll rub it in on North Dakota. They did that last year, I think, against Buffalo in week 2 after that loss. But it wasn't a great sign that Ramir Johnson, their leading rusher, got in a fight in a casino the night before, and it didn't play. By the way, people were asking me on like prize picks, props. Yes, if he didn't play, I don't know the answer to this, by the way. If he didn't play, then your prop is voided. But he came in on the last play of the game, like a special teams play or something. He one snap towards the end of the game. So technically, I don't know. He played. But I don't know. It's crazy. People were asking about that. You got to talk to your book. But yeah, I mean, him getting in a casino fight right before the game, he didn't play. He's their leading rusher last year. Not a great sign if that's what's going on. But yeah, the defense was significantly worse than I thought. That's something that they have to fix here in the bye. But it was a good old corn roasting. Let's finish up. And by the way, we all know Northwestern is going to finish in first place. They last place, first place, last place, first place. That's what they do every other year. All right, let's finish up here.
You know what? First of all, it's so good to be back. You guys are such handsome devils and such great people. It's so good to have you here. Listen, it's Martin from Florida. I'm going to get right to the point. It one of Colin's best friends. You know, if you wake up in the morning and you're Todd Orlando and you know that you have a small penis, and on top of that you suck at your job and really your life, but yet you feel good about making big stops in the second half against Charlotte so nobody can get the over, and then I can wear really small shirts, and then look at my muscles, look at my small balls. I'm Todd Orlando. Listen, Todd Orlando can fuck himself. Jim Harbaugh can fuck himself. And Ohio State's the best. It's going to be a great season, kids. Bye.
Yeah, that game was annoying. I had overall it was a good first day for me, but it was most people probably were 500 if they followed along, and I was tweeting about this last night. If you give out picks publicly on Twitter, then don't. And there's a game that you covered, but maybe not a lot of other people didn't. Don't go on Twitter and brag about it, and you should be rooting for every number. We'll get to the New Mexico State game, but the game that I was most disappointed about and was one of my favorite bets of the day is Charlotte, Florida Atlantic. And I mean, I was pissed because the quarterback got hurt. Well, actually, the worst here, I had a funny story to tell. So a bunch of people from Twitter are like, hey, I'm going to be at Stagger tonight. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to go out. So I watch every second of Saturday. I don't miss anything, but I have to shower. So I go and shower like I'm going to take a 3-minute shower in the early second quarter of the Charlotte game. Now I have a TV in my shower, but my wife's in the bath and she has the TV on. So I have to shower. I am just following along on my phone, and I get out and I see Charlotte plus 14 live. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I was waiting for. So then I put a towel around me, go out, grab my drink, throw it on the game. I was down the basement. Now I'm out upstairs. I throw the game on, and they're like, Chris Reynolds to the locker room. I'm like, what the fuck? The worst timed live bets. I'm sorry if anyone else got that. I'd live bet in the app too, and I could never buy it back. But Chris Reynolds, as I thought, he shredded. He only played 2 quarters because he was hurt. Then they pulled him. But he was like 14 of 19 for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the 5 incompletions were 4 wide open drops. He could have thrown for 302 quarters. Could have thrown for 600 if this is a competitive game. And their backup looked like he's never played football before. At one point, he was 0 of 6 with a pick 6. And that game should have. Look, I could sit there and say, look, N'Kosi Perry was better than I thought. the Charlotte defense, by the way, was improved. They could not get a stop on 3rd and long, but the run defense was better. They were a little more disciplined, but I can write that one off easily. The overbackers like yourself, that was brutal because that game I was watching and I said, damn, in the very beginning, I said, this is a dead shot over. And then obviously the starting quarterback for Charlotte gets hurt, who was a potential conference player of the year, 6-year senior, and a guy comes in who is incompetent. And then obviously the game gets away and then it dies as they do in blowouts. So my thoughts and prayers to you and to anyone else who had that over.
Yeah, Charlotte, to tack on to what Stuggy's saying, Charlotte goes 2 of 13 combined 3rd and 4th downs. Not very good. They also had 3 trips inside the 40-yard line, only scored 7 points. Again, not very good. I do appreciate the pick 6 there before half to get that. If you had a first half under in that game and that pick 6 got it up to 33 and it was like 30
because it shouldn't even happen. There was the rest forgot to run the clock.
Yeah. And so Willie Taggart decides to pull N'Kosi Perry and bring in his son, Willie Taggart Jr., who is just as fast as N'Kosi Perry. But they're just running this vanilla offense and have no interest in scoring again whatsoever. And Charlotte's lifeless and can't get any score. That was probably the most frustrating. Like, I should have live bet myself out of it because the lead kept getting so high. I think I'm going to be a little bit more active with the live betting next weekend during week 1. Something I avoided yesterday because I believed this over was going to hit, but I should have protected myself with a live number. I mean, the number we had was 59.5 and the live number was up in the 70s. So definitely something I'll be looking to change in my strategy next week.
Will Hilly on the sideline, just screaming, trying to hype, and his players deadpan on their face, just looking into space. All right.
Colin, Stucky, Tim for Virginia. Good to be back. Jesus Christ. I'm watching this Nevada and Mexico State game, and I had a good amount of money on this New Mexico State game. I thought they were going to have it tonight, given how shitty Nevada was looking coming into this year. But Jesus Christ, New Mexico State had more turnovers than my church's Sunday brunch after Mass. Jesus, this is abysmal. This team sucks. Why did I put money on this team?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? It's week 0.
That's UTEP. Yeah, New Mexico State, by the way, Nevada is dreadful. They played New Mexico State, won by 11, and I downgraded them, and I thought that they might be a bottom 10 team in the country.
Me too.
They averaged 3 yards per attempt. 3 yards per attempt. They were absolutely dominating this game. Got 6 turnovers to none. They turned it over themselves, and they didn't review it for some reason. And they kick a field goal late to get to 11, and then New Mexico State turns it over again. I am absolutely disgusted for anyone that didn't cover that game, and that's a lot of people that had it at 11.5. I mean, that had 10.5, 10, 9.5, 9. Absolutely awful. They should have won that game outright, and they didn't cover a lot of the numbers out there. Disgusting. Nevada is horrendous. Horrendous. One of the worst offenses I have ever seen.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, when you look at this box score, New Mexico State absolutely dominated them. Now, this is one of, which was, I think, the lowest power rated team on my entire board out of all 131. I think they just hopped New Mexico. There should be some updated power ratings out there, but, they more total yards. I mean, I'm just looking at this, how they went 18 for 34 in passing, but 4 interceptions thrown, another fumble loss. They just killed themselves in and out of drives. But Nevada didn't cause any of that havoc. Like, this was all New Mexico State's fault for not covering.
And like random tips and it was ridiculous.
A lot of wonkiness going on. And, the ball could have fallen the other way and they could have won this game outright. But if you listen to the podcast from the other night, I said, watch this game closely. And if it's not looking good for Nevada, you need to go hammer into that Texas State. Now, I did it last night. It came through the action app for everybody. 5.5 was out there. As I'm speaking, Westgate just takes it down to 4.5. FanDuel's taking it down to 3.5. Your Texas State Bobcats are going to be within a field goal probably by the time this gets published. So, this Nevada team is worse than what we advertised.
Their quarterbacks, Nevada fumbled twice, by the way, recovered both. They threw a pick. It didn't get reviewed. I mean, it's just despicable stuff. Nevada's quarterback, 14 of 23 for 78 yards, 3.4 yards per attempt. Against New Mexico State. Yeah, I'm betting the Bobs. Let's bet this right now.
Yeah, get it in.
Is there a 4.5 out there?
There is. You can get it at DraftKings, Westgate. You can get
Okay. All right, cool. Let's go. All right, I'll do this after. Actually, let me just play this. Yeah, Bob's Nation. Come on, Spavital. And by the way, Nevada was number 1 in the nation in turnover margin last year. All right, here we go.
Minor mother effing nation. I just want to say that lightning delays suck. I mean, it threw our whole game plan out the window. We never could regain our focus after the lightning delay, and the mean green beat us again this season, and that's not the greatest way to start the season, but minor mother effing nation, we'll be back. We're going to shock the world and beat Oklahoma next week straight up. So you don't even need to take the 31.5 or the 32. Miners, money line, next week. We're going to shock the world. Let's go. Boom.
All right, there you have it. Thanks for calling in, Martin, who blamed the weather. Just before you bet UTEP money line, don't even need the points next week. Make sure there's no lightning delay, because then North Texas will lose. UTEP will lose all of their focus. So yeah, UTEP really missed Jacob Cowling. I mean, they're if you look at, we talked about that, their offense was all explosiveness and they didn't have them. But thank you for calling in. Sadly, no pizza party, but it's only week 0. Many more weeks to cover and rebound for Minor Nation. By the way, the mean green at North Texas mean green, little known fact that, well, I don't know if it's a little known fact, but a lot of people don't know this. Their nickname Mean Green, Mean Joe Green, you know, the Hall of Fame linebacker, Hall of Fame defensive tackle. He played for North Texas and they were chanting his name in the stands, and then it caught and they adopted the nickname Mean Green. I might be making that up, but I think that's
it's true.
Okay. All right. Before we get out of here, we'll talk any lines that we think are gonna move. We just talked about Texas State next week. But before we do that, just a quick minute. Best call, worst call, bet, regret. Best call, I'm going to go with my unders. So I had really good CLV this week, and all of my unders came through. With under in UConn, under in North Texas, UTEP, under in New Mexico State. Was happy with all of those. Worst call, I'm going to say, it has to be, I added Hawaii late. I said, make Vandy prove it to me. And boy, did Vandy prove it. There was a funny tweet that kind of went viral of someone after Hawaii went up 7-0. You gotta watch what you say. People get excited in week 0-1. And they were like, something about this is just Vandy's treating this as a vacation embarrassment to the SEC. Hawaii's going to roll. Then the final score was 63-10. Bet regret was taking a shower at the time that I did. You best call, worst call, bet regret?
Yeah, I guess I'll go with looking at the board here. Oh, best call is going to be Vanderbilt. I mean, even when I wrote it up for Action Network and, you know, I had 6.5 in my back pocket, I started writing it up midweek and the number got all the way up to 8.5, 9. And I got a little, you know, it didn't faze me enough to where I wouldn't still take Vanderbilt. So I'm glad that all of us that held Vanderbilt tickets were able to cash, because that was an absolute trouncing. And I don't know who that Vanderbilt offense was the first 3 drives. But after that, Wright figured it out. The Vandy offense figured it out. And I think we are seeing just how young and inexperienced this Hawaii roster was. That showed up for the remainder of the game. So Vanderbilt there as the best call. The worst call, hey, you know, I had Nebraska. I fully believe that this offense was good enough to cover up all of these other holes because I believed in Mark Whipple taking over. The offense didn't really let me down. The rest of the team did, and not handicapping the rest of the team from special teams and defense. Defense just got ran over. Probably the worst call of the day. And then the bet regret. We talked about it on the podcast. We said we were going to make bets on it, but that Utah State under, just because of, the fact that the one lone strength that UConn had was a secondary. The fact that Utah State was, not going to be as explosive as they were the year before. We wanted to take the under, and I didn't get it in, and I didn't have any money on it, and it was an easy under.
Utah State, by the way, got absolutely gashed in their run D by UConn. Carter was going bananas. That is a scary thing to have happen to you with a trip to Tuscaloosa looming. All right, let's before we get out of here, appreciate everyone listening. As I said before, we'll be back. 959 Bad Beat, by the way, and it's in my profile on Twitter. So during the week, could be a preseason NFL game. I don't care. Call them bitch. We'll find a way to get you on somewhere. But especially college football and the weekdays, that's when most people call in on the island games. So I look forward to hearing from all of you. But we'll be back. We'll have our group of 5 guys who went 4-0, by the way, in their picks this week, killing it. They will be their preview will be out on Wednesday this week. We will be back on Thursday with a loaded week 1 preview. So make sure you check those out. But before we get out, Colin, we're going to be covering all of next week ahead of the first game, so we don't have to go into anything in depth. But is there anything that you think is going to move? Anything worth grabbing now besides the Bobs we talked about?
Yeah, I think going down the list here, West Virginia Pitt, the backyard brawl. I wouldn't be surprised to see traders on 6.5, 7.5 on the side, but really the total. I think the total is going to come down even farther. You and I talked about it a ton in the preseason podcast about how slow this Pittsburgh offense is going to be. And so I think that under is going to keep creeping down. And then Purdue, Penn State, I would expect that to close at 4. It's sitting on a really juiced 3. There's some 3.5s out there. This is a game that I make Penn State by 6. There's some holes on Purdue's roster that I think we'll talk about in the podcast, but that's one that I believe is going to move. So we'll see how those turn out, but those are the 2 that come. And then I don't know what to do with Minnesota, New Mexico State. I was extremely impressed with New Mexico State stuck, but the number I make it 37, and I can see some market money coming in at DraftKings and Westgate. We're off 37 and down to 36. So I'm guessing people are going to read the box score and want to take New Mexico State in this game. But we'll see, because I got to see how fast Kirk Soroka is going to run this Minnesota offense, and if they want to go in blowout mode. So anyways, that's another one there that I'm got my eye on.
Under. New Mexico State's gonna be an under team. Yeah, I agree with you on the Pitt under and Texas State. The rest, make sure you tune into actionnetwork.com. We'll have previews all week, but most importantly, our podcast later in the week. And by the way, our debut of our weekly Saturday morning show, Big Bets on Campus Live, will be this Saturday ahead of the week 1 slate, probably 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Twitter. So make sure you check out that link. Mitchell, if we have any giveaways for people leaving 5-star reviews, throw out some names and info for how to reach out. If you want to be on that list, all you got to do is leave a 5-star review. I don't care what you say, just leave a 5-star review. And if you've already left a review, I've already seen a couple of you guys do this. Grab someone else's phone, your friends, your moms, your girlfriends, your ex-girlfriends, I don't care, and leave another one. Appreciate all your support. This is the time that those things really help us out. It's time for us to go get cracking onto this week 1 card, and which doesn't have Nebraska, Colin, so we're off to a good start already. Nebraska on a bye. But hope everyone had a profitable week's year. And if you didn't, shake it off. We're on the week 1, baby. We'll catch y'all later. Cheers.
Peace out.